Good evening. I'm Senator Ronnie Sabb from Greeleyville, South Carolina, where I proudly represent the people of District 32 and serve as the Assistant Minority Leader. Moments ago, we listened to our governor, the Honorable Henry Dargan McMaster, deliver the State of the State address. We look forward to working with him and our Republican colleagues to help South Carolinians build and maintain safe and prosperous lives. The governor mentioned many exciting initiatives in his address. Democrats support the plans to improve our state roads and bridges, expand sewer and water services, and make broadband accessible to all South Carolinians. But let's be clear. Many of these investments are made possible because of the passage of the federal infrastructure bill under President Joe Biden. This is a classic example of our federal and state government working together to accomplish great things that benefit everyone. Democrats, welcome the governor and our Republican colleagues to the ongoing fight to stabilize college tuition costs. We must make higher education in South Carolina more accessible without our children being saddled with enormous student loan debt. Perhaps opening the door to college for more students will help remedy the massive teacher shortage our state is facing. Democrats have long supported increasing teacher pay. It has never been a secret that one of the reasons it is so hard to attract and retain teachers in South Carolina is because our salaries are simply not competitive. Increasing salaries will give our current teachers a fair and livable wage, draw in new talent, and encourage the next generation of bright minds to enter this vital and noble profession. Democrats have been fighting for teachers for a long time. Democratic legislators like Senator Darrell Jackson of Richland County and Representative Gilda Cobb Hunter of Orangeburg County have been tireless advocates for decades. What a relief to begin this new legislative year, knowing that finally Republicans are joining that fight. As newly elected leadership takes on the task of overseeing our public schools, I'd like to take this moment to thank our former State Superintendent of Education, Molly Spearman. Molly, we didn't agree on everything, but we worked together well for the children of our state. Over the last 2 years, the General Assembly has invested heavily in school facility repair. But in South Carolina, we still have 2 categories of school districts, the haves and, yes, the have-nots. The have-nots are mostly rural districts which struggle to build new schools, fix existing buildings, and provide a better and safer education for their students. To ensure that no matter their zip code, students have the opportunity to attend modern and safe schools, we need a recurring stream of state revenue dedicated to funding new facilities and making upgrades to outdated schools. With this funding, our state superintendent and school districts will be able to plan better for growth and for change. Education is our greatest weapon against poverty. We owe it to all of our children to simply give them a fair shot. We ask our governor and our Republican colleagues to support Senator Thomas McElveen and help us pass the Education Bank Act to build better schools. I say to our governor and my Republican colleagues, join Democrats in our efforts to provide better mental health care in South Carolina. Our state services and programs for those facing mental illness are shrinking. The Beale Street facility, which once served them, is closed. It's time to act. We must find new ways to provide health care for our most vulnerable. All too often, these South Carolinians find themselves homeless and end up in jail rather than in treatment. We've turned our backs on our neighbors. This is a statewide tragedy, but it can be remedied. Governor, join us. Let's pass the Mental Health Treatment Act. A few weeks ago, I attended the governor's prayer service. It was an excellent service, excellent sermon. One of the points the Reverend Dr. Derek Thomas made was, and I quote, "Good government should encourage good and discourage evil." Simple but true words. And that is why South Carolina needs to pass hate crime legislation. Folks, South Carolina and Wyoming are the only states in the United States of America that do not have hate crime legislation. The Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., whose birthday we recently celebrated on the State House grounds, was an extraordinary observer of our country's strengths, weaknesses, and potential for good. He understood the corrosive power of hate. He knew that hate needed to be called out in order for it to be eradicated. Failing to call hate out, in his words, is when silence becomes betrayal. We ask our governor and our Republican colleagues of goodwill, we invite you to add your voice to ours. Be a part of good government, one that discourages evil. Let's pass hate crime legislation in South Carolina. New industries and jobs are coming. And so it's important that our focus remains on supporting ways to keep our economy growing and healthy. But a person working 40 hours a week, I submit, should not be living in poverty. Join us in increasing our state's minimum wage. Our economy should work fairly for those from top on down. Ladies and gentlemen, the Republican leadership in the South Carolina legislature has made it clear that two issues will be taken up, the debate of which will significantly impact how we live in our state. Your elected officials will debate over a woman's right to health care and spend tax dollars for private purposes. Both of these issues challenge how we currently view personal rights in our state. But yet again, we will see a renewed effort by factions of the Republican legislature to actually strip your liberties away. Inevitably, we will revisit the issue of a woman's right to choose. Our state Supreme Court has acknowledged that a woman has a constitutional right to privacy and has struck down the repeated attacks from Republicans seeking to limit a woman's access to health care during pregnancy. Women have a fundamental right to control their own bodies. Any decision they make is between them and their doctor, not, I repeat, not a group of male politicians sitting in judgment in Columbia. We trust South Carolinians and hope you do too, this issue should be placed on the ballot for a referendum vote, which will allow all South Carolinians to decide the issue and weigh in. The other issue, and quite frankly, efforts are already underway to require taxpayers to foot the bill for private education tuition in South Carolina. Democrats do not support this plan and have fought against similar plans since Governor Mark Sanford first proposed them many years ago. First, this proposed legislation is simply not constitutional. And second, it is a disservice to hardworking citizens of our state. Republicans will dress up their public funds for private schools plan in many disguises and try to win public support. But as an elderly lady told me years ago, son, a pig with lipstick is still a pig. But ultimately, using money from hardworking families and giving it to private for-profit schools is wrong. There is no right way to do this wrong thing. Let me conclude by saying that the process of governing is not reserved to politicians. Governing is a joint process involving all citizens and their elected officials, both Democrats and Republicans. It's a partnership. That's why I want to encourage everyone to make their voices heard as we work, debate, and pass legislation in 2023. We need to hear from you. I, like many of you watching tonight, grew up poor. I tell folks that I have come from the outhouse to the state house, that we lived in a house that had a skylight before skylights became popular, our tin roof with holes in it. I've said that we could tell whether there were chickens underneath our house, not because they cackled, but because we could see them through the cracks in our wooden floors. Thanks to the love of family and good neighbors, along with the sacrifices of those in the struggle during the civil rights era, this country boy from Greeleyville, South Carolina, is addressing you tonight. I submit that the struggle continues. Different issues for a different time. A time such as this. We must fight and ensure that future generations of our children are afforded the opportunity for a prosperous future, just as I was. And so let us march on until victory is won. Victory for every South Carolinian is simply to have a fair shot at success. Thank you for listening, and may God bless you, and may God bless the great state of South Carolina.